Artificial intelligence, or AI, it seems that we're hearing about it more and more in our everyday lives. It's in our computers, our phones, our homes, our cars, the list goes on. There was even a recent trend where people were using AI to create amazing artwork looking images of their own faces, which definitely raised a few questions. The main point of concern was that if AI could create such amazing artwork in very short spaces of time, would this negatively affect our real artists across the world? Or would it perhaps influence a new generation of artists to create their own art inspired by what the AI produced? I recently saw a YouTube video by Film Booth where he asked an AI program called ChatGPT to write a script. Yes, a whole script for a YouTube video on how to learn as fast as you can. And sure enough, it wrote an entire script in seconds, which he then read out. And that got me thinking, could I use that same AI program and ask it to write me a guitar lesson, script a guitar lesson that I could use in a YouTube video? And to make it more interesting, I even thought of a specific topic for it, chord formation. So I did exactly that. I went to ChatGPT and I even asked it to keep it short, and seconds later, I had a script. So I'm about to teach an entirely 100% AI generated guitar lesson on chord formation. I'll then go back over the lesson afterwards and give my thoughts on it. Was it good? Was it bad? Could it be improved? And as a guitar teacher, am I in danger of losing my job to robots in the future? Let's find out. Hi, and welcome to this guitar lesson on chord formation. In this lesson, we'll be covering the basic principles of how chords are constructed on the guitar. First, let's define what a chord is. A chord is simply a group of 3 or more notes played together. The most common type of chord is the triad, which is made up of 3 notes. Now let's take a look at the basic building blocks of a chord. The root note, the third, and the fifth. The root note is the main note of the chord and gives it its name. For example, in a C chord, the root note is C. The third is the note that is 2 steps above the root note. And the fifth is the note that is 4 steps above the root note. So to construct a chord, we simply need to find the root note, the third, and the fifth and play them together. For example, to play a C chord, we would play the notes C, E, and G together. It's also important to know that chords can be played in different inversions, which simply means that the order of the notes is changed. For example, instead of playing a C chord with the root note on the bass, we could play it with the third or the fifth on the bass. Root on the bass, third, fifth. This changes the sound of the chord, but the underlying chord structure remains the same. That's it for this lesson on chord formation. I hope you find it helpful and that you now have a better understanding of how chords are constructed on the guitar. Happy practicing. So there you go, that was an entirely 100% AI generated guitar lesson. How was it? Overall, considering that was written in literally less than 10 seconds, I'm really impressed. It was legible, it made sense actually reading it out loud, there was no grammatical errors or anything like that, and it was accurate. There was only a couple of small but important points that I feel like it was missing, which would have made it almost a perfect lesson on chord formation. So first it teaches how to build a C major chord, but there's absolutely no mention of major in the entire lesson. It might be obvious, but as a guitar teacher, that's something that I definitely would have got in the lesson. I would have specified that to my students, especially the beginners. Another thing is, whilst it does actually have all of the ingredients which build up a C major or any major chord correct, a root, third, and fifth, and it does actually explain that after the root, the third is 2 steps above that and the fifth is 4 steps. That's all perfectly accurate. But there's no explanation of what a step is, something I feel would be quite important for beginners to know. The steps relate to the notes from the C major scale built from a specific pattern of tones and semitones, but not all the steps are the same. And a beginner might not understand what that means, so it would have been good to have that explained in the lesson. After our root note of C, the next note in the C major scale is up a tone, which is a distance of 2 frets. And the next step is up another tone, and that is the third. So we have the root, the second, and the third. So we need the root and the third. The fourth note, however, or the third step, is up a semitone. So that's different from the other steps that we've had so far. And the fifth is up a tone from the fourth. So we have a look at that again. We have our root note of C, we move up a tone for the second, another tone for the third, a semitone for the fourth, and a tone for the fifth. And if we just take the first, the third, and the fifth from that specific sequence of tones and semitones, that gives us the notes that we need for the C major chord. The root, the third, and the fifth. C, E, and G. And we play them at the same time, which is what gives us our C major chord. I do love though how it mentions about inversions. That's something that I totally wasn't expecting to be in the lesson. Inversions are an important part of understanding chords and everything like that, so I'm really happy to see that that was in the lesson. That was really cool. All in all, this is a good lesson, and as I keep mentioning, it was written in literally less than 10 seconds. As advanced as this technology seems now, it's still in its infancy, and I just can't imagine where this is going to lead to in the future. So anyway, I'd absolutely love to get your opinion on what you thought about this guitar lesson scripted entirely by an AI system. So leave me a comment and let me know what you think. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like, leave me a comment like I said, and if you have any more ideas, if you like to see me try this with other things in future, maybe a different lesson or an entirely different topic about guitar that is generated by AI, then let me know in the comments, because that will be quite an interesting video I think as well. Anyway, that's it from me today. If you're new to my channel, then please don't forget to subscribe and make lots of guitar and music related content, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video. So I'll see you then.